All right, in Atlanta, Clemson and Georgia. Steven, Georgia, 13.5-point favorite, number one in the nation. Clemson coming off another year where they took a step back, even though they might be better than their record indicated. Cade Klubnik has never really fully become the quarterback that he was supposed to be. The offensive line should be better for Clemson with Matt Luke and Garrett Riley in year two, and Clemson's supposed to be better. I am hearing, folks, Steven, I want to know what you think about this. The group think around this game is that Georgia and Kirby plays it a little slower, takes their time on this, tries to find some weapons for Carson Beck after losing Bowers and McConkey, that the defense is going to play vanilla, that they're not going to show a lot. I am curious what you make of Kirby and Georgia kind of playing vanilla in this game, and that Clemson could keep it close and low scoring. Obviously, both very good on defense. I'm just curious what you make of the whole, like, keep an eye on Clemson. They might be better than people think. I'm curious what you think of that.
I think the argument for Georgia to play that kind of style would be they are a little bit beat up already this year. I mean, they lost one of their running backs for a little bit of time. We don't know the status of Trevor Etienne. They've got some other defensive, injuries along the defensive line. Receivers are banged up. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's in Kirby's DNA though to play it like slow and just
I
try
agree.
to leave Atlanta with like a 3-point win over Clemson because if you kind of mess around and you end up losing this game where you're like nearly a 2-touchdown favorite, it certainly that certainly wouldn't sit well with Kirby. So I don't know. I think
Are you not hearing the same things though? Like I'm hearing, and it's not that Kirby's going to give it to Clemson. It feels like there's a lot of conversations from people I respect about how, like, watch out for Clemson in this game, and I'm kind of like, okay, interesting.
Is maybe the conversation more about Clemson just improving enough to keep it closer than 13 points, I guess. I mean, we
Maybe.
should note the last time that Georgia played a huge non-conference game. They didn't play one last year, but they smashed Oregon 49-3 2 years ago. So
that they did.
I'm not.
Now he's the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos.
Right. I'm not sure Georgia would play this one close. Like if this was Murray State or something, like I could see them just like, we just got to get out of here. And also, this is also something we'll have to watch this year is with the longer season. If you're a team like Georgia, a team like Ohio State, what do you do in some of these early games to sort of manage reps? Are coaches going to do that? Do they don't care? I think that'll be a sort of a storyline we'll have to see just as we go.
Look, I don't know why I'm hearing a lot of this, that people think Clemson's a little better. I mean, look, I think I've had these feelings. I've had these feelings all summer. Maybe Clemson's better than we think. Veteran quarterback, light bulb finally goes on. Dabo's hired some really good coaching staffs. Lots of all the complaining we do about Dabo, the continuity is not a problem. They have an identity and a continuity. Now, it hasn't been good enough to win ACC championships lately, but it's good enough to be pretty damn good most every Saturday. Almost beat Florida State last year. So they probably should have won that game, frankly. So I don't know. I think Georgia overpowers them in the fourth quarter, and maybe, like, to me, this is like a 21-10 kind of game. So that's a Clemson cover. But the question is, does it feel close? Does it feel like Clemson has a shot, or does it feel like they were never really in it? That's sort of how, and I feel like people are kind of leaning towards, well, maybe they can play well in this game. And I think it's more like it might look closer than it really was, is how I feel.
Yeah. I think there's a case to be made. First of all, that Clemson's offense will be better this year. It's just almost like second year continuity. You've got Cade Klubnik in his second year. Also, your freshman receivers, Bryant Wesco, TJ Moore, they make some plays in this game. It also feels like one of those games where the score is like, it's 10 points, but it feels like it's just like going to take a like Herculean effort for Clemson to close that gap and win this game. I just think Georgia has too many advantages here. I think Clemson's defense is good enough to keep them in it. I think the problem is that might break at some point because Georgia just eventually wears them down and I think takes control of this game in the second half.
I think a lot of new stuff around Carson Beck, but that elite offensive line and Carson Beck, I think they keep it together. They do just enough to win, I think, comfortably, but maybe not a cover, not a game I'm gambling on at all. If anything, bet the under 48. I think that's a good play on that one. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And a lot of SEC, ACC bragging rights on the line this week. That is for sure.